Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today on YouTube? What we're going to do today, I think I'm going to slide over the mountain. Not actually, but I'm going to go over the mountain from the area where I live here, a place called Abbs Valley. I'm going to check out a place where Indian battle took place back in the late 1700s. I think it was called the massacre of the James Moore family. So we're going to go and see what kind of information we can find, and I'm gonna take y'all along with me if y'all want to go. So let's head on over there to a place called Abbs Valley and check them out. I'll catch y'all when we get there. Be right back with you in a bit. Folks, I thought I'd stop by before we went over to across the mountain there to Abbs Valley. I just want to show you this monument down here, not too far from where I live. It's about the same tribe of Indians, the same ones that was over there, the Black Wolf, his tribe, Shawnee. It's a little battle happened down here. I think it was 4 or 5 of them. They had a little fight here, and some were killed. But this incident over in Abbs Valley was a lot worse than this. But what they were doing down here was a little place called Thorpe, right above Thorpe here. That's where the monument's at, but that's not actually where it happened. It's on down the road a little bit. They've just moved it to this park up here. But I can't get into the park. They got it locked up, so we'll try to go around the part of the roadside, see if we can see the monument through the fence. But can't get in there to it. But I was want to show you the same ones was doing stuff down in here. This was a hunting territory. Wasn't really nobody lived down here much, but the Harmons and the Indians come over and McDowell side to come down in these areas to headwaters of the Tug to hunt deer, bear. There was lots of bear in here. That's what they eat on, was bear and all kinds of deer. The Indians and the settlers, that's what they hunted in here was bear, deer. They said they were elk in here back in the day. Lush with wildlife. But let me see if I can get around the side of the highway without getting run over. We'll see if we can see this monument, see if we can read what it says on it. Get right back with you. Here we go. Let's see if we can zoom in on it a little bit. So near this marker is the site where Henry Harmon and his sons, George and Matthias, fought and won the battle with 7 Black Wolf Indians of the Shawnee tribe, November 12, 1788. Well, it wasn't long before that is when this happened up here in Abbs Valley. So there was a lot going on with the tribes of Indians around here, white settlers. But yeah, a lot of traffic going by. But supposedly the story is that they were camped near here. They were camped near here somewhere, and they smelt smoke, and they come up on these Indians and had a fierce fight that left Harmon's wounded, and the Indians lost their lives. Hey folks, guess where I'm at? I'm over in Abbs Valley, and I'm back here in the woods, and there is a lady here named Tammy Schrader helped me out upon finding the grave site of Mr. Captain James Moore. And I'm going to flip the phone around, the camera around, let you look at the headstone here. We've been working on it, trying to clear it off a little bit, but it's got a lot of moss and stuff on it. So we'll try to read it off here and see what it all says. Okay, let's flip her around. Okay, here it is. Kind of hard to read. It says, "Here lies the remains of Captain James Moore, soldier of the Revolutionary, and July 14th of 1786, his 26th year, a band of marauding Shawnee Indians under the leadership of Black Wolf, and buried here he fell near the remains of the three of his children, William, Rebecca, and Alexandra, were massacred at the same time. Fragments of the stone remains at the gravesite here. So here is some stones. But look here, it's in the woods. I would have never ever found this. I just thank the lady so much, Miss Tammy, for showing me where this is up here. And it is so covered up with stuff. We worked on it for a little while just to get the moss and stuff off of it, but hadn't looked like been nobody here in a long time. Okay, we're gonna want to actually go down to the, should have done this second, but we're gonna go down to the exact site where this all happened at and where the home site is. So we'll get back with you in just a bit, but yeah, he's buried right up here in the woods. I would have never ever found this. Wow. All right, let's go check the rest of it out there, maybe the home site. Yeah, folks, I've just made it back over here to the main graveyard. We're gonna go through it a little bit after I left the monument of James Moore, or the headstone, and there goes the lady that was helping me. This Tammy, real sweet lady. I thank her so much for giving me the information. Look at how beautiful this valley is. And I got a couple friends up here. Done made friends with them. Hey, bub, how you doing? Huh? Yeah, yeah. I don't know their names, but right down here in the bottom, we'll go down here just in a few minutes. This is where the house sits, where the monument's at, about where it was at, I figure. But look what a beautiful valley this is right here. But here is the graveyard. There's actually some Moors in this graveyard, but there's a lot of other folks in here too. It's a really old graveyard. Yeah, here's one. Gotta watch these sunken graves here. W.T. Moore, born in Abbs Valley, March 7th, 1802, died December 30th, 1891. Sure was a descendant of Captain James Moore. A lot of old stones. There we go, about talking about old stones again. Just had done a video last week on making tombstones for old places that didn't have any. This place here, they have their stones. It's just so old. The weather has worked on them so much. There are different types of stones here and different people with last names all in here. You know, I was thinking, I was thinking about the Indians. You know, I'd say this valley was cleared off for farmland, and you ought to be able to see them coming from a ways. But we'll get into the story here just in a little bit, and talk about what happened that day. One of the worst massacres that they've had in this area uh, to date on Indians. Look at him down here scratching his back. His back's itching. Look at him here. Said I'm embarrassed. Oh. Yeah, it looks like it's James M. Moore. Born September 12th, 1835. Died December 1st, 1896. I won't go through all these graves. I just wanted to go into the family graveyard. I guess this is the family graveyard. It's on the Moore property. Wow, beautiful place. Well, I'm gonna work my way back down to the monument, and we'll all meet down there. How about that? See if I can get by the horses here. Should have brought them an apple. If I knew I was coming to see horses, I would have brought them an apple. Make sure the gate's locked. Shut good. All right, let's ease on down the hill here. Get back with you when I get down there. There's a little fur piece down here. Okay, made it down here. There's a long fur piece up yonder. Okay, folks, here is the monument. It says here, this fence is dedicated in loving memory of our grandmother, Molly Virginia Coates Moore, 1875 to 1968, widow of James William Moore, who in 1938, at age 63 and a widow, took 4 orphan boys, aged 12, 11, 9, and 7, to raise and love them. Bertie Moore Jr., James W. Moore, Edward L. Moore, Peyton M. Moore, deceased, July 17th, 1999. Okay, folks, this is the monument. It's erected to the memory of Captain James Moore, a soldier of the Revolution, having commanded a company at Capt. Fulford Courthouse in Kings Mountain. Now, I remember reading about Kings Mountain. That was a big battle there. And Kings Mountain, killed by Indians July the 4th, 1786. To Martha Pog Moore and Jane Moore, and daughter, who were captured and taken to Chillicothe, Ohio, and burned at the stake. Wow. To William, Alexandra, Margaret, and John, infant children of Captain Moore, who were massacred. This is also to James and Mary Moore, son and daughter to Martha Evans, who were captured and carried to Canada, held captive for 5 years, were rescued by Thomas Evans, brother of Martha Evans. As though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Erected by their descendants. Wow. A lot went on right here, folks. Can you just imagine? Have a fortified place here with a log cabin. Have a band of Indians. I think there was like 47 of them. We'll get into the story here just in a minute. Come out of the bushes and out of the woods. They could come from any direction. From over this way, or back around, back out of this holler over here. Wow. This is interesting. Sure. All right, we're going to sit down and kind of go over it just a little bit. And tell you about what happened here that day. Get back with you. Well, sit down right here at the steps of the monument. No better place to sit. Okay, here we go. The captivity of James Moore. The family pioneer family that suffered the most at the hands on of the Indians was Captain James Moore, who moved with his family from what is now Rockbridge County to Abbs Valley. In September of 1784, a party of Indians who had entered the present limits of Tazewell County divided themselves into small parties to steal horses and annoy the settlers. 3 had entered Abbs Valley settlement, and which resided Captains Moore and brother-in-law named John. The Indians had been for a day or two lurking and waiting around in the woods looking for opportunity to see horses or murder settlers. These 3 Indians were Black Wolf and 2 youths about 18 years old, one of them son of Black Wolf. While they were lurking around Abbs Valley, Captain Moore one morning sent his son, James, a lad about 18 years old, to a distant pasture to get horses and take a bag of cornmeal to them. Which James was on his way to the pasture, he suddenly set upon Black Wolf and his companions and made a captive. He was taken by captors to an Indian town in Ohio, adopted by a half-sister of Black Wolf. She giving the chief an old horse in exchange for the boy. Wow. It was 5 years before James Moore got back home. 3 years after the massacre, his father and his family, he had many thrilling experiences while with the Indians. In the spring of 1775, he was fortunate enough to get away from the Indians and several years after return home and follow the incidents connection with the captivity. Wow. So they captured the young boy, but he finally made it back home several years later. Mercy. It says in July of 1786, a party of 47 Indians of Shawnee tribe again entered Abbs Valley. Captain James Moore usually kept 5 or 6 loaded guns in his house, which was a strong log structure. It takes a little strong log structure to weather winters and cold weather. So I'd say it was cold in this valley back in the day. Okay. Losing papers, winds blowing, all that good stuff. It says here, on the morning of the attack, Captain Moore, who had previously distinguished himself at Mance, was at a lick bog, which I think is a salt lick, short distance from the house, assaulting his horses, of which he had many. William Clark, Irishman, were reaping wheat, and in front of the house, Miss Moore and the family were engaged in ordinary business of housework. A man named Simpson was sick upstairs at the time. 2 men who were in the field at the work saw the Indians coming in full speed down the hill. Captain Moore, who had entered and discovered them, started in a run for the house. He was, however, shot through the body and died immediately. 2 of his children, William and Rebecca, who were returning from the spring, were killed also at the same time. The Indians had now approached near the house and were met by fierce dogs, which fought manfully to protect the family for their master. After the severe contest, the fiercest one was killed and the other subdued. It was quite a battle. Goodness. So this all happened right here in this area right here. Wow. Okay, it goes on to read here that also they had captured the wife and also the baby. They had hidden under the floor for a short time, uh, then came out and hid themselves under a log that lay across the branch, not far from the house. The Indians have tarried a short time with a view of catching horses of them walked across the log, sat down on the end of it, and began to fix his gun lock. Supposing she was discovered that he was preparing to shoot her, came out and gave herself up. At this time he seemed much pleased, then set out for their town. Previously that John Moore was a boy, weak in body and mind, unable to travel. They killed him the first day. The babe they took 2 or 3 days, but being fretful on account the wound that he received, they had also killed him. They moved on with haste to their towns. For some time it was usual to tie very securely each prisoner at night, for a warrior to lay beside their side with a tomahawk in hand, so that in case of pursuit, the prisoners might try to escape. Yeah, this is beautiful. Now I was sitting here thinking, I wonder if they had any problem with Indians in the past here at this location, or if this was just a one-time thing here. There's another story that I'm going to cover later on. His name is Captain James Maxwell. He was also, it's during this same time, I think this was 1786, and with the James Moore here, but 1789 with Captain James Maxwell, Maxwell's Gap. We'll do a story on that here for long. They had captured some women and children from over toward Burke's Garden over here in Virginia, and brought them over my way where I live, over here on the Tug Fork, the head of the Tug Fork River, above where I live here in the area. And I had went there to find out if something had happened there, and I did actually find some parts of arrowheads and stuff like that. But we'll get into that story later, but we're on a different one now. These pretty yellow flowers. Moore family, Black Wolf, and a group of Shawnee Indians attacked militia Captain James Moore nearby home on July 14, 1786, during a campaign to deter white settlements of the Ohio Valley region after the American Revolution. They killed Moore, children Alexandra, Rebecca, and William, and a servant, John Simpson. 6 others were captured and taken to Ohio. Children John, Margaret died during the journey. Moore's wife, Martha, and daughter Jane were killed near Chillicothe, Ohio. Daughter Mary and Martha Evans were sold near Detroit and were later rescued. Son James, captured by Shawnee 2 years earlier. Joseph, absent that day, returned to live in the valley. Wow. A lot happened here, for sure. Well, folks, I thank y'all so much for coming along. I just thought I'd come by and do this little bit of a video here. This little spot here in Abbs Valley, Virginia. Not far from where I live, about, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. Not very far. So I just want to thank y'all so much for coming along today on this little trip. And we need to go actually see where Captain James Moore was buried, up here on the hill. So that was great. So I thank Miss Tammy for taking me up there today to see that. And we will see y'all all next time here on Appalachian Roots with Dan. Y'all take care.